Here we go. Daniel versus oKhaliD, a best of 7, the match you've all been waiting for. The North American versus Middle East challenge is summed up by this game. Daniel, we've seen on stream a bunch. If you guys have been watching my channel, you've seen Daniel play just about everybody we could find him at the beginning of this last month or so, maybe even into May. He has just been grinding games against the best possible players. We started to run out. We started to run out of players, so we started to look to other regions, and we've looked to the latest, or sorry, I'm trying to read messages from my mods at the same time. We are looking to another region and maybe the best player we could find. oKhaliD from the Middle East. A lot of people calling him the final boss for Dan, as he's been doing a great job in 1v1. Can he take down Khalid, though? A lot of non-believers. If there's any believers, our chat is filled with the most of them. But Khalid, one of the best 1v1 players. Truly a couple guys who don't need any introduction. We might give him a slight introduction, but they don't need it. Daniel, he's one of the best air dribble dodgers that I've ever seen. The air dribble bump was executed well. I mean, Khalid really didn't mess up on that one. Daniel just pre-jumped so quickly, got above it, got his first. Both these guys breaking the seal super early on their gameplay, tying it up. Daniel, pretty easily regarded as the #1 North American 1v1er right now. Khalid, the same for his region. And Khalid in the conversation for the best player in the world on multiple occasions for 1v1. Dan has yet to do that. I think he hasn't had enough opportunities to show that he can be the best player. But I think his time is coming, and he has an opportunity to prove that that's the case right now against Khalid in a best of 7 for $500. Oh, wait a second. I take that back. Not $500. I said that wrong. I offer $300 to these guys. And I accidentally said earlier that I put 100 up, so that's 200 more. $700. $700 1v1 right now. Versus Daniel, or between Daniel and Khalid. I totally have been in the zone here as we've been a little bit behind schedule, but yeah, I offer these guys $300. Khalid, his bounce dribble taken away. A nice outplay from Daniel, though. Daniel trying to be quick, not going to work. The ping is much fairer. I think everybody's in chat talking about the ping matchup between the last matchup was a little bit less equal. This one's 80 to 100. Daniel, we searched for a good server for Dan. He accepted this one. These guys are not far off. I think they're close enough for it to really not be a part of this game. Daniel, his air dribble, 50 low. He should be able to continue it for a second, and he does. 2-2 for Dan, or sorry, in this match. Dan able to tie it up halfway through. Daniel has one of the best aerial games we've ever seen. Khalid is known for his ground game, specifically his bounce dribbles. What a pinch. Is this in? Daniel! We don't see this ever. I've seen so many players go for this pinch. I don't know how to tell you. I watch these people go for this pinch all the time. No one ever scores it. No one ever scores it. But I guess Dan does. Oh my goodness. What a huge pinch from midfield to go up 3-2. But as I was going to say, Daniel's game has been his aerial game as he gets this wall to air dribble. That flip reset setup is so nasty. Oh my goodness. You guys can tell I like to watch Dan play, but that was a great wave dash setup, just a little bit too strong. But the way Dan sets up his flip resets is second to none. You could recognize it so well. I swear I could recognize it even if I didn't know it was Dan playing, because he gets up into that ball perfectly, doesn't lose any momentum on himself for the ball, sets himself up so that he's right behind it to basically do whatever he wants with it. And it's all the slight details of setting up that flip reset that make it such a lethal weapon. If you mess up on any of them, if you don't, keep yourself close to the ball, you get too much separation on the flip reset, or you're moving at different speeds, you cut away so many of your options. But Daniel keeps all of them available. Nice strong shot from Khalid. Daniel able to save it away though. Demo in the corner. Can Daniel carry this ball online in time? Setting up a bounce dribble of his own. Good enough placement. oKhaliD respawning with only 30 boost. Might have been able to get up for this one, but was creeping out to midfield. Wanted to get one more pad potentially to help him in his defense, and ended up putting him just a little bit too deep in net. 4-2 in favor of Daniel. Daniel, a light flick, saved away. Just a method to buy himself some boost in the corner. oKhaliD, though, able to hold on to everything he had at midfield, and he'll flick it above Dan for a third. Dan trying to set up a close shadow. Maybe he could have gotten away with challenging early, but instead turned away. oKhaliD able to arc it over him, and a kickoff goal. Daniel knows it. You can see he just kind of turns his camera off and flips away. So the 1-2 punch of a nice shot followed by a kickoff goal can bring you back to this game. Let's make it an even 1K. Somebody donated $300 to the prize pool. It's a $1,000 prize pool. I'll update it in between games because I accidentally said I donated less than I actually did to this prize pool. Insane $100 prize pool for Dan versus oKhaliD. Oh, sorry, 1,000. I'm not used to saying those high of numbers, chat. You gotta forgive me. 30 seconds left to go in game number 1. A best of 7. Daniel trying to bump oKhaliD out of his corner, making sure to grab every boost at midfield. I think oKhaliD has to be pretty low. Daniel waiting for his opportunity. oKhaliD on the retreat, able to reset and get to this ball before Daniel can execute, but the continuation in favor of Daniel. Daniel going to that air dribble bump. This was a great recovery and instant challenge from oKhaliD. He was in a really tough spot on that retreat back to his net, but to grab the boost and cut in field very quickly to even stop that first attempt before it started was impressive. But ultimately, Daniel able to follow it up off the ceiling and backboard. oKhaliD with possession. Dan taps it away though. Lots of space and time. A fake challenge. oKhaliD gonna go to an air dribble. Daniel pre-jumping it. Can he squeeze it to the ground? He can. And game number 1 gonna go in favor of the North American youngster, Daniel, as he goes up 1-0. Game number 2, Daniel versus oKhaliD. The first one, very close. A final air dribble from oKhaliD, pre-jumped by Dan to save it away to secure the game and tap the ball to the ground. Oh yeah, these guys playing for $1,000. I guess we should tell them. oKhaliD ceiling reset. We actually watched some oKhaliD replays recently against another top-rated player, and he was definitely focusing on the aerial game in those replays. He was playing very Dan-like. Dan and Evo as well. Usually super aerial focused. Anytime they have any open space, they're trying to set up a play in the air. They're almost never taking ground dribbles unless they need to. Nice challenge and shot from Dan. I've never known that to be oKhaliD's game necessarily, but he's adding as much as he can. oKhaliD, his shot on net off the kickoff, trying to get it past, but Daniel able to save it and grab boost of his own and a dribble the other way. 3-0 in favor of Dan. Chat, a lot of people trying to send me messages. I'm not going to be able to understand them. I'm sorry. A minute down, a 3-0 lead. Daniel, a huge sweeping fake challenge, and that gets him so far away from the ball. He's trying to maintain insane speed, but oKhaliD can make that read very easily. You can see him out of the corner of his eye, knowing he's going to have a really hard time catching back up to the ball. So he can just double jump it up, and Daniel has really no way to evade the bump because he's starting from so far away. Another good kickoff from oKhaliD. A great flick, just slightly offline. Needed it, and Dan will punish for a fourth. Daniel, whether intentional or not, scooping underneath khalid to push him just a little bit out of the way on his counterattack. khalid going a little bit all in on that play. If he had gotten the flick, he would have brought himself just a little bit closer, but took the risk of a counterattack since Daniel not coming up to make a save at all. Dan going to be awarded a full possession in the corner. khalid out to midfield. His fake challenge was enough to get Dan to flick early. khalid now with possession. Daniel has been almost exclusively fake challenging. I don't think we've seen him go at the ball right away on these khalid dribbles just yet. Instead has more faith, setting up in the shadow position. He's low on boost at midfield. He'll get one last tap to buy himself some time to reset in his back half. But khalid, the bounce dribble. Daniel, another huge sweeping setup. He's coming in so fast to set up his shadows. He like refuses to slow down under supersonic speed, so he just rips a huge angle to get into his high-speed shadow. This time, the shadow's just a little bit slower. khalid, his wave dash shot doesn't get enough movement, can't get it past Dan, but he's still forcing the issue with low boost, and for good reason, as he flicks it above Dan. Thought he was going to be able to get that midfield boost there, but even after he didn't get it, decided to continue the dribble. And a well-timed flick will capitalize on a late challenge from Dan. Dan taking it to the air. Every high bounce he likes to. Tried to win out the 50, but couldn't force it online. khalid able to push it into the corner. khalid with supersonic speed, sticking with this ball despite no boost. This 50, though, that'll cost him. That is the risk of trying to stick with the ball. And it seemed like he had a moment there where he could have grabbed that back corner boost. He had a 50 that seemed like he had about a second to go grab boost. Instead, he tried to stay on top of the ball, continue to force the issue, whether he was worried about Dan taking it away or just thought he could get an outplay. Hard to know, but ultimately not grabbing that boost ends up being the reason why Dan can take it the other way. Daniel, huge lob from the corner. Great speed from Dan to get back to that one. It seemed like he had touched it way too strong and had handed over possession for sure, but he almost got back in time. khalid will have a bounce dribble either way, and he'll cut it behind Dan. These left to right bounce dribbles, or sorry, these side to side, not necessarily left to right. In fact, this one's right to left. So hard to make a read as a defender, especially with zero boost. Dan just double jumping and praying, hoping he falls in front of where the bounce dribble hook shot was going. Dan, did he give enough speed to this one on the kickoff? He did. Dan's had a couple different kickoff goals, I think, in this game number 2 that are right now giving him the edge. In a close game, a 1 or 2 kickoff goal edge can be all you need, and he's had a couple different ones. Dan, strong placement. He knew khalid would save it, but he's just trying to set up an extended play, forcing tough save after tough save. Slowly, it will whittle khalid's boost down until he can get an outplay. He got it past khalid there, but that might have been a bit of a mistake. A strong touch into the corner that khalid didn't even have to dream of making a save on. And he's got 100 of his own. He's going to take to the skies. Daniel is so good at dodging air dribble bumps. That's a great setup from khalid. You could tell we've seen a bunch of air dribble bumps before. khalid is not doing anything wrong there. He's setting it up as good as you could hope for. But Dan, he's pre-jumping high above them and finding a way to keep them out of his net. That being said, khalid gets the continuation. These guys challenging a bunch at midfield. Daniel helping assist that one right outside the net. khalid will accelerate it for a fourth. 2-goal lead with 37 seconds left to go. khalid falling from the ceiling. Not able to find an angle. Daniel doing a good enough job Playing defense on the back wall. This boost will spawn at the perfect time, and it will get him a 7th goal. Daniel was actually looking in trouble there. With 15 boost, he was going to have a hard time making the right outplay in the corner and continuing it. But a nice, humongous boost spawns in front of him. And he probably knew that. I mean, I wasn't paying close attention. These guys are so aware of when every boost has been grabbed and when it will spawn again. I bet you he knew that was about to show up for him. oKhaliD, a good kickoff, though. The way oKhaliD has been scoring his kickoff goals is like this. He's not getting them directly into the net, but he's doing a good job of getting early possession and then converting on it when Daniel has a potential chance to save. He's going to fake challenge. He's always hated the diagonal kickoff from the left side, but not a bad idea to fake challenge in this case to eat up some time and secure a game number 2. 2-0 for Dan in this $1,000 best of 7 series. Game number 3. Daniel versus oKhaliD. Both these guys playing great, worthy of the main event match, but Daniel with the edge so far. oKhaliD keeping the pressure on with low boost. A couple backflip challenges. He might have an angle here, but he's not willing to risk it that final time. Dan will reset. oKhaliD, lots of space. What is he going to go to? In a time where he can go to whatever he wants, what is his favorite attack? Well, he'll take this dribble on top of his car, drive it right at the net, and the flick leaves a little bit to be desired, but I tell you what, sometimes you can put a soft flick in an awkward spot, and Daniel having to save that while it's almost directly behind him means he launches it up to a pretty tough position for him to get back and get ready for the next shot. He can't get there when oKhaliD goes up 1-0 right at 420. oKhaliD bounce dribble. Decides not to take a shot attempt. Daniel in a decent spot, apparently good enough that oKhaliD didn't even think it was worth trying to rip power shot, maybe worried that Daniel was positioned so well that the counterattack would be too good, and maybe oKhaliD didn't feel like he had enough power, but ultimately just letting it fall into the corner instead. Dan, 1-2. Cannot finish it off. oKhaliD able to save it. oKhaliD out to get some boost, and that's enough of a window that Daniel can strike. oKhaliD knew he was going to be playing in net with low boost for an extended period. Thought he had time to grab 1 or 2 pads, but he did not. Daniel finds the tight angle, and these kickoff goals. Can oKhaliD stop it? He will this time. He's had a hard time stopping him. Daniel has had a lot of speed on him. In fact, there's a good chance this will be another one. So ultimately, credit to the kickoff. Daniel just padding the stats right now with a couple kickoff goals, and these games are ending close. If he can get a couple of those in his favor, all of a sudden at the end of the game, he finds himself in the lead, and a nice big miss to give oKhaliD a free one. To be fair, this is a kickoff goal the other way, basically. I mean, Daniel had an opportunity to save that one away, but ultimately made the mistake. And I mentioned it before, but that's basically the difference between these two guys' kickoff goals right now. Daniel's getting them straight at the net, almost no chance at scoring them. oKhaliD's just getting really, really, really strong kickoffs in his favor, where there's a great chance he'll score, but not necessarily. Just like that last one. I mean, a great kickoff that went straight in front of the net and forced Daniel to make a tough play with 0 boost. But Daniel is saving those sometimes. They're not guaranteed goals as much as it seems like when Daniel's hitting his kickoffs. Nice play around the net from oKhaliD. Daniel operating on low boost. Could not make the read in time. Trying to position well, but hard to do when you have oKhaliD dancing back and forth between your boosts, taking everything you have. oKhaliD staying aggressive once again with low boost. He's not afraid to play with 15 or 10, but it also hasn't been working out for him. It could be a calculated risk. Maybe he knows that giving Dan open field by retreating back into net when he has 15 or 10 to reset is just as bad as letting Dan, you know, try and outplay him with the boost he has right there. Dan a dunk on the dribble, soft touch, electing to hold a little bit of boost for the recovery as opposed to use it on the shot. Probably a smart play, as khalid likely saving it either way. Dan being aggressive with 0 now. Gonna have to play defense with a single pad. Backflip challenge, buys himself some time, but he's in trouble. This time he'll fake. khalid, a nice pass to himself. A little chip touch to set it up for a power shot. A really good play when a defender's low on boost. When a defender's low on boost, you want the ball high. And so chipping it up to around a double jump height and then taking it doesn't even have to be that strong. A nice shot that stays to double jump height all the way to the net is going to be basically impossible to save. khalid just did the Ricky. khalid just did the Ricky move. We've seen Ricky do that a lot, where he like slightly drives to one boost to bait the other player into going for like their corner. Like, hey, I'm just going to go to the mid. You can take your corner. And then last second turning and stealing the boost. That way they have 100. The other guy has 0. And we see Ricky do that like all the time. It's like all he ever does is try and steal the boost. Most players, I feel like, are willing to concede. They say, yeah, you can have your back as long as I get my 100. khalid trying to do a cheeky steal. Not resulting in a goal, but he has a nice possession at midfield with a 100 boost and a flick for a 5th. A magnificent goal, says this caster. Dan's had a hard time recovering back to midfield when khalid has these on-card dribbles. Dan aggressive. Absolutely nothing for him operating on 0. He's not going to win this race to the back corner either. khalid knows what to prioritize, and he likely has given himself a good shot opportunity. Dan picks up a couple pads, cuts it off, and will finally get his 100. Last second touch to clear that one away. But 46 seconds left to go. khalid playing smart. He doesn't need a goal. He just needs possession. He'll bring it back into his half. To another dribble. Dan trying to carry khalid away. He's going to take an early shot. He will. It'll miss. And that is a crucial moment. I think Daniel in desperate need of that shot to go at least at the net. khalid on the goal line. No reason to force the issue at all. He's not trying to win a 50. He'll just wait for Dan to tap it away. 10 seconds left to go. Dan, a Hail Mary challenge. Did it work? Oh, it almost worked. You needed to find the angle. Hail Mary challenge almost gave him a chance. khalid is going to win his first game, as Dan puts on a little bit of a show carrying this one away. khalid getting his first, bringing the series score to 2-1. Game number 4. Daniel versus khalid. khalid getting his first. Dan went up early 2-0. He is doing a lot of work with these kickoffs right now. So many different direct kickoffs at the net. Just single touch. khalid needs to figure out what it is that Daniel's doing to get so many. There's another situation where I think khalid almost intentionally showed that he was going to go to one boost for a second before jumping to another. It's best of 7, which I believe should be in the title. First to 4, that is. So Daniel not on match point. He needs to win 2 more games if he wants to take the series. Nice double jump pop. khalid has the boost, tries to get up, but Dan just speeding it. When you place it that well, hard to make a save. Big kickoff win for khalid and a direct goal for him. These guys can't figure each other's kickoff out because, oh, failed to join the party. That's fine. khalid has been winning a lot of kickoffs exactly the same way. He always wins them to the corner. He wins them like to Daniel's backside wall, and then it bounces off in front of the net. When Dan wins them, he kills them and puts them straight in the net. This is just a nice bounce for Dan. I don't think oKhaliD realized how good of a bounce it was. He thought he was going to have time to grab some boost and then make it back. Wait a second. Daniel trying to make me look dumb. Oh, at least he didn't score. He just did the oKhaliD version of a direct kickoff goal. Oh my goodness! He got a goal from it. He cuts it back in field. He doesn't have a lot of boost. I don't think he was really hoping for too much out of this shot. He was just trying to put it on net and play it from there. But oKhaliD found himself a little bit too deep into the corner, was trying to reverse and did not have the speed to make the save as he slowed himself down from the reverse to try and get that touch. oKhaliD, aerial play, his flip reset, not going to connect, but the counterattack isn't there. Daniel's done a good, or sorry, oKhaliD's done a really good job of picking up boost and maintaining his boost. In general, when I'm watching this game, I mean, I watch a good amount of show matches, I feel like I'm going to switch to oKhaliD's perspective, and he's going to be much lower than he is. I keep thinking, oh, this is a good situation. He had to use a lot of boost to make that save. And so I'll switch to oKhaliD, see what's up with him. And he always has 40. You know, he always has 30 to 40. He never goes low. It's crazy. oKhaliD not pulling the trigger on that first shot attempt. Instead, he will slowly work it in. This is experience right here. Realizing there's a small chance if he takes that first shot, Daniel will save it and will have a high momentum clear. It'll have a lot of speed into the corner. Instead, he takes the low 50. The low 50, much less risk, especially against a defender with low boost. No way that defender's counterattacking in any serious way. Daniel still with the lead, though. oKhaliD flick at midfield. Daniel, the big arcing shadow setup. He's done that so many times. oKhaliD another low 50. Daniel, he flipped off the corner of the net. It seemed like he clipped off of it and had to wave dash to get back to it, but he does. Another save high. He is making some miraculous saves, and wow, it was enough. oKhaliD was going to back off. He was going to let Dan clear it away, but Dan wasn't going to risk it with low boost. oKhaliD continues to shoot time and time again on Dan's net. Dan is not going to be able to reset on boost just yet. Operating on very little. He'll get a big clear, and that should be enough. But possession for oKhaliD. And Daniel doesn't want to give up. He wants to continue it right here. He's not resetting to grab boost. He's instead trying to look for a shot. There we go. Finally some time. Dan, long shot. Has he exposed oKhaliD? Oh my goodness. How did he find that? This ball so far away. oKhaliD just casually going to grab boost. He should have that time. But Daniel noticed he did not. Not if he can rip a nice power shot from the ground. (5-3) in favor of Dan in this game number 4. Daniel, his air dribble, trying to get a touch late to redirect it, but he landed himself on the post. Might mean he's not able to get back in time, but he does. A demo and an open net as oKhaliD gets a 4th. oKhaliD, kickoff in his favor. Dan playing defense with nothing. Able to get a nice clear. He's got to continue to play with nothing as oKhaliD approaches. Nice fake. oKhaliD tying it up. Daniel's been so good in defense, but one of the ways to be good on defense with low boost is to react early and to assume, well, actually, you reacted super late here, but to kind of assume perfect execution from your opponent. And oKhaliD has been doing a great job of flicking those high, but he goes low this time. Daniel not ready. Tie game. Game number 4. oKhaliD trying to get the bump, but he doesn't get it. Daniel should be in the lead in the race back, or at least in the boost lead. oKhaliD quickly there. Dan, very smart play to bring that to midfield. This is a really good play from Dan. Basically, he's trying to force oKhaliD to make his play right away. He takes the ball to oKhaliD, who's low on boost. He has an advantage. He's trying to make oKhaliD have to do something. He wants to take advantage of his advantage as soon as possible. So he forces the ball to oKhaliD. oKhaliD has to try and challenge. And then all he has to do is tap it above him. And now he can take his heavy boost advantage and tap in an open net. oKhaliD, good backflip. Should be able to get a hook shot here that Dan can't get to, but he tried to slot it in the bottom corner. And he maybe didn't need to. I think he had a little bit more open net than he thought he did. But his attempt to put it perfectly means he shoots it just a little bit wide. 50 seconds left to go. Dan with a 1-goal lead. oKhaliD with a dribble. Dan early with the defensive jump. He's always up early on those dribbles. He does not let people air dribble bump him. It's crazy. It's so hard to position those air dribble bump saves, but he finds a way to do it. oKhaliD really isn't doing that poorly on the dribbles. I mean, I don't think we watched that one from his perspective. Maybe if we watched it, we could have noticed that the execution was off from him, but definitely the first few, he was executing just fine. Daniel was just looking even better on the defensive end. And this goal might secure this game, number 4. A long shot, 8-5 with 30 seconds left on the clock. oKhaliD needs to score quick. Daniel challenging to stop just that. Barely needs to even save the ball away as long as he kills some time. And I think he's done it. I think he's killed the time. I've been wrong in the past. oKhaliD, a great setup. Not going to work, though. Daniel will move to match point, up 3-1 against oKhaliD. A long shot for the road. 9-5 in favor of Daniel. Trying to hold it down for North America. Going to need a tune-up after that. As we head to match point for Dan in game 5. Oh, I did the scoreboard wrong. Sorry, I'm going to switch it. We might miss the first kickoff. I apologize. We made it back in time. Dan up 3-1. Best of 7 accidentally gave oKhaliD the win. oKhaliD going to score at the start of this game number 5. Daniel flip reset. Didn't work. Who knows what he was going for, but he was nowhere near the ball. oKhaliD having no trouble at all. Dan trying to find the angle off the back wall. oKhaliD, a great save, but can't quite get the counterattack. You could tell oKhaliD was more than just saving that ball. He tried to drop it down right to where he could perfectly rip a power shot, but he still couldn't get that in time. Dan being cheeky as he works his way to the net. Wow, flip back onto the wall. Daniel's always surprised. The man is a mechanical genius. And he's been playing fairly straightforward. Just high-level quality Rocket League. When we watch Dan play, you know, maybe a less tough opponent, we see some insane stuff. Oh, miss from oKhaliD. Let's watch this. I wonder if it's a little bit confusing from oKhaliD's perspective. Did it look like Dan was potentially going to hit something here? Oh, yeah. It did seem like he needed to get up to potentially stop a strong power shot as the ball came to the ground, but a miss instead. Dan from the wall. Carries this one well enough to earn himself the boost, but he can't win out the 50. oKhaliD, will he go wall to air himself? To slam this one into the corner, that's just a free handover of possession. Maybe he just didn't like that ball position at all. Knew that it was better than just leaving it. Nice flick. He's had a couple of these. Daniel trying to challenge early. has been exposed on a couple different occasions. But to be fair, Dan was doing a lot of fake challenging to start the match. He started to challenge a little bit more, or early challenge a little bit more. And apparently it's played right into khaLoD's hands. Pinch down the field, race to the corner. I'd say khaLoD might be low on boost, but every time I switch, he finds a way to have some. 23, nice save. Doesn't cost him even a single boost to get it either. Double jump himself, crossbar, and the last pixel wasn't in. Sorry, khaLoD. Daniel able to stay alive. Only down one here. khaLoD, the slow play, actually gave Daniel time to make the save. We weren't watching from khaLoD's perspective. I wonder if he couldn't have used his second flip to force that a little bit faster. But he played it on the slow dribble, and that was exactly what Daniel was hoping for. And then a little open field bumps will result in a tie game exactly at halftime. khaLoD losing this kickoff into his corner, but able to grab boost and possession, so it doesn't seem like much of a loss at all. This time the air dribble bump will work. Or at least the air dribble. Dan jumping at the same exact time as khaLoD. But khaLoD just gave it a little bit of extra height. Instead of dribbling it directly on top of his car like he had been doing in the past, he actually popped it with a little bit of extra height, and that height was the difference in getting it over Dan. Interesting kickoff from Dan. Just the complete cheese. Didn't work though. khaLoD able to get it past him. khaLoD lobbing it at Dan, hoping to get a nice 50. Not the best of setups. Dan finds a way to turn lots of things into air dribbles, but it's hard to do it when the ball is that far underneath you. Minute 40 left to go. khaLoD looking for his second game win. That angle was online, but khaLoD takes it away. Daniel's had a lot of these recovering saves where he just needs to chip the ball above the net. We have found him rushing back to net to just barely make a save on so many occasions, and he'll get a third. What a great save. It all comes down to being able to handle those recovery saves and then taking khaLoD for a ride a little bit. I think khaLoD must have not landed well off of that slight ride that he took on the back of Daniel. 3-3. A minute 15 left to go. khaLoD, a strong flick. Another save from Dan, just pushing the ball up above the crossbar. khaLoD with a lot of field, double jumping quick. He did not want to let Dan get up to that ball, would rather send it into Dan's corner. Dan's going to get a free possession. That shot attempt, not the best. Daniel, the flip reset, crossbar and down. He can't shoot it. He's not going to have the angle. And khaLoD somehow has 46 boost. How does the man always have boost? It seemed like he had just used up a lot of boost to make a save, but he's got infinite boost glitch. Somehow he makes saves with such little boost. Dan, a missed opportunity there, definitely. So close to scoring. Had khaLoD in a tough spot, but wait a second. Dan just lobs it off the backboard, and khaLoD can't get there. khaLoD has 100 boost. He thinks about going to challenge early. Oh, it's just a misread from khaLoD. I feel like he could have gotten up to that. A little bit slow to react, and Daniel able to score on the double, 4-3 with 20 seconds left to go. If he can hold on to this lead, which he's going to have a hard time doing with this potential kickoff goal that khaLoD's about to score. But he does save it. The backflip. Could that be the series securing save? 10 seconds left to go. khaLoD needs it to stay alive. Daniel trying to hold it down for North America in the final moments. khaLoD flips away. Daniel secures a fifth. And Daniel will give North America a win. 4-1 for Dan in this best of 7 against khaLoD. GG's from oKhaliD. Daniel left the game as well. Daniel does it. Wins it in 7. Oh my goodness. Sheesh, chat. What a series. What a day. Game number 4. Daniel versus oKhaliD. oKhaliD getting his first. Dan went up early 2-0. He is doing a lot of work with these kickoffs right now. So many different direct kickoffs at the net. Just single touch. oKhaliD needs to figure out what it is that Daniel's doing to get so many. There's another situation where I think oKhaliD almost intentionally showed that he was going to go to one boost for a second before jumping to another. It's best of 7, which I believe should be in the title. First to 4, that is. So Daniel not on match point. He needs to win 2 more games if he wants to take the series. Nice double jump pop. oKhaliD has the boost, tries to get up, but Dan just speeding it. When you place it that well, hard to make a save. Big kickoff win for oKhaliD and a direct goal for him. These guys can't figure each other's kickoff out because, oh, failed to join the party. That's fine. oKhaliD has been winning a lot of kickoffs exactly the same way. He always wins them to the corner. He wins them like to Daniel's back wall, backside wall, and then it bounces off in front of the net. When Dan wins them, he kills them and puts them straight in the net. This is just a nice bounce for Dan. I don't think oKhaliD realized how good of a bounce it was. He thought he was going to have time to grab some boost and then make it back. Wait a second. Daniel trying to make me look dumb. Oh, at least he didn't score. He just did the oKhaliD version of a direct kickoff goal. Oh my goodness! He got a goal from it. He cuts it back in field. He doesn't have a lot of boost. I don't think he was really hoping for too much out of this shot. He was just trying to put it on net and play it from there. But oKhaliD found himself a little bit too deep into the corner, was trying to reverse and did not have the speed to make the save as he slowed himself down from the reverse to try and get that touch. oKhaliD, aerial play, his flip reset, not going to connect, but the counterattack isn't there. Daniel's done a good, or sorry, oKhaliD's done a really good job of picking up boost and maintaining his boost. In general, when I'm watching this game, I mean, I watch a good amount of show matches. I feel like I'm going to switch to oKhaliD's perspective, and he's going to be much lower than he is. I keep thinking, oh, this is a good situation. He had to use a lot of boost to make that save. And so I'll switch to oKhaliD, see what's up with him. And he always has 40. You know, he always has 30 to 40. He never goes low. It's crazy. oKhaliD not pulling the trigger on that first shot attempt. Instead, he will slowly work it in. This is experience right here. Realizing there's a small chance if he takes that first shot, Daniel will save it and will have a high momentum clear. It'll have a lot of speed into the corner. Instead, he takes the low 50. The low 50, much less risk, especially against a defender with low boost. No way that defender's counterattacking in any serious way. Daniel's still with the lead, though. oKhaliD flick at midfield. Daniel, the big arcing shadow setup. He's done that so many times. oKhaliD, another low 50. Daniel, he flipped off the corner of the net. It seemed like he clipped off of it and had to wave dash to get back to it, but he does. Another save high. He is making some miraculous saves, and wow, it was enough. oKhaliD was going to back off. He was going to let Dan clear it away, but Dan wasn't going to risk it with low boost. oKhaliD continues to shoot time and time again on Dan's net. Dan is not going to be able to reset on boost just yet. Operating on very little. He'll get a big clear, and that should be enough. But possession for khalid. And Daniel doesn't want to give up. He wants to continue it right here. He's not resetting to grab boost. He's instead trying to look for a shot. There we go. Finally some time. Dan, long shot. Has he exposed khalid? Oh my goodness. How did he find that? This ball's so far away. khalid just casually going to grab boost. He should have that time. But Daniel noticed he did not. Not if he can rip a nice power shot from the ground. (5-3) in favor of Dan in this game number 4. Daniel, his air dribble, trying to get a touch late to redirect it, but he landed himself on the post. Might mean he's not able to get back in time, but he does. A demo and an open net as khalid gets a 4th. khalid, kickoff in his favor. Dan playing defense with nothing. Able to get a nice clear. He's got to continue to play with nothing as khalid approaches. Nice fake. khalid tying it up. Daniel's been so good in defense, but one of the ways to be good on defense with low boost is to react early and to assume, well actually he reacted super late here, but to kind of assume perfect execution from your opponent. And khalid has been doing a great job of flicking those high, but he goes low this time. Daniel not ready. Tie game. Game number 4. khalid trying to get the bump, but he doesn't get it. Daniel should be in the lead in the race back, or at least in the boost lead. khalid quickly there. Dan, very smart play to bring that to midfield. This is a really good play from Dan. Basically, he's trying to force khalid to make his play right away. He takes the ball to khalid, who's low on boost. He has an advantage. He's trying to make khalid have to do something. He wants to take advantage of his advantage as soon as possible. So he forces the ball to khalid. khalid has to try and challenge. And then all he has to do is tap it above him. And now he can take his heavy boost advantage and tap in an open net. khalid, good backflip. Should be able to get a hook shot here that Dan can't get to, but he tried to slot it in the bottom corner. And he maybe didn't need to. I think he had a little bit more open net than he thought he did. But his attempt to put it perfectly means he shoots it just a little bit wide. 50 seconds left to go. Dan with a 1-goal lead. oKhaliD with a dribble. Dan early with the defensive jump. He's always up early on those dribbles. He does not let people air dribble bump him. It's crazy. It's so hard to position those air dribble bump saves, but he finds a way to do it. khalid really isn't doing that poorly on the dribbles. I mean, I don't think we watched that one from his perspective. Maybe if we watched it, we could have noticed that the execution was off from him, but definitely the first few, he was executing just fine. Daniel was just looking even better on the defensive end. And this goal might secure this game number 4. A long shot. 8-5 with 30 seconds left on the clock. khalid needs to score quick. Daniel challenging to stop just that. Barely needs to even save the ball away as long as he kills some time. And I think he's done it. I think he's killed the time. I've been wrong in the past. khalid, a great setup. Not going to work, though. Daniel will move to match point. Up 3-1 against khalid. A long shot for the road. 9-5 in favor of Daniel. Trying to hold it down for North America. Going to need a tune-up after that. As we head to match point for Dan in game 5. Oh, I did the scoreboard wrong. Sorry, I'm going to switch it. We might miss the first kickoff. I apologize. We made it back in time. Dan up 3-1. Best of 7 accidentally gave khalid the win. khalid going to score at the start of this game number 5. Daniel flip reset. Didn't work. Who knows what he was going for, but he was nowhere near the ball. oKhaliD having no trouble at all. Dan trying to find the angle off the back wall. oKhaliD, a great save, but can't quite get the counterattack. You could tell oKhaliD was more than just saving that ball. He tried to drop it down right to where he could perfectly rip a power shot, but he still couldn't get that in time. Dan being cheeky as he works his way to the net. Wow, flip back onto the wall. Daniel's always surprised. The man is a mechanical genius. And he's been playing fairly straightforward. Just high-level quality Rocket League. When we watch Dan play, you know, maybe a less tough opponent, we see some insane stuff. Oh, miss from oKhaliD. Let's watch this. I wonder if it's a little bit confusing from oKhaliD's perspective. Did it look like Dan was potentially going to hit something here? Oh, yeah. It did seem like he needed to get up to potentially stop a strong power shot as the ball came to the ground, but a miss instead. Dan from the wall. Carries this one well enough to earn himself the boost, but he can't win out the 50. oKhaliD, will he go wall to air himself? To slam this one into the corner, that's just a free handover of possession. Maybe he just didn't like that ball position at all. Knew that it was better than just leaving it. Nice flick. He's had a couple of these. Daniel trying to challenge early. Has been exposed on a couple different occasions. But to be fair, Dan was doing a lot of fake challenging to start the match. He started to challenge a little bit more, or early challenge a little bit more. And apparently it's played right into oKhaliD's hands. Pinch down the field, race to the corner. I'd say oKhaliD might be low on boost, but every time I switch, he finds a way to have some. 23, nice save. Doesn't cost him even a single boost to get it either. Double jump himself, crossbar, and the last pixel wasn't in. Sorry, oKhaliD. Daniel able to stay alive. Only down one here. oKhaliD, the slow play, actually gave Daniel time to make the save. We weren't watching from oKhaliD's perspective. I wonder if he couldn't have used his second flip to force that a little bit faster. But he played it on the slow dribble, and that was exactly what Daniel was hoping for. And then a little open field bumps will result in a tie game exactly at halftime. oKhaliD losing this kickoff into his corner, but able to grab boost and possession, so it doesn't seem like much of a loss at all. This time the air dribble bump will work. Or at least the air dribble. Dan jumping at the same exact time as oKhaliD. But oKhaliD just gave it a little bit of extra height. Instead of dribbling it directly on top of his car like he had been doing in the past, he actually popped it with a little bit of extra height, and that height was the difference in getting it over Dan. Interesting kickoff from Dan. Just the complete cheese. Didn't work though. oKhaliD able to get it past him. oKhaliD lobbing it at Dan, hoping to get a nice 50. Not the best of setups. Dan finds a way to turn lots of things into air dribbles, but it's hard to do it when the ball is that far underneath you. Minute 40 left to go. oKhaliD looking for his second game win. That angle was online. But oKhaliD takes it away. Daniel's had a lot of these recovering saves where he just needs to chip the ball above the net. We have found him rushing back to net to just barely make a save on so many occasions, and he'll get a third. What a great save. It all comes down to being able to handle those recovery saves and then taking oKhaliD for a ride a little bit. I think oKhaliD must have not landed well off of that slight ride that he took on the back of Daniel. 3-3. A minute 15 left to go. oKhaliD, a strong flick. Another save from Dan, just pushing the ball up above the crossbar. oKhaliD with a lot of feel, double jumping quick. He did not want to let Dan get up to that ball, would rather send it into Dan's corner. Dan's gonna get a free possession. That shot attempt, not the best. Daniel, the flip reset, crossbar and down. He can't shoot it. He's not gonna have the angle. And oKhaliD somehow has 46 boost. How does the man always have boost? It seemed like he had just used up a lot of boost to make a save, but he's got infinite boost glitch. Somehow he makes saves with such little boost. Dan, a missed opportunity there, definitely. So close to scoring. Had oKhaliD in a tough spot, but wait a second. Dan just lobs it off the backboard, and oKhaliD can't get there. oKhaliD has 100 boost. He thinks about going to challenge early. Oh, it's just a misread from oKhaliD. I feel like he could have gotten up to that. A little bit slow to react. And Daniel able to score on the double, 4-3 with 20 seconds left to go. If he can hold on to this lead, which he's going to have a hard time doing with this potential kickoff goal that oKhaliD's about to score. But he does save it. The backflip. Could that be the series securing save? 10 seconds left to go. oKhaliD needs it to stay alive. Daniel trying to hold it down for North America in the final moments. oKhaliD flips away. Daniel secures a fifth. And Daniel will give North America a win. 4-1 for Dan in this best of 7 against oKhaliD. GG's from oKhaliD. Daniel left the game as well. Daniel does it. Wins it in 7. Oh my goodness. Sheesh, chat. What a series. What a day.